What's up, Subaniacs? And here we are, week 3 of the Ugly Duck podcast. And just right off the hop here, I want to thank you guys for all of your support, the comments, the reviews, so many fans leaving great comments. And I'm going to go through that in a second, but just keep commenting, leaving your reviews. It's really, really important for us. Obviously, with the podcast, the more 5-star reviews we get, the better off we're going to be. And we're trying to continue to create momentum with the podcast. We're going to keep coming out week after week, keep supporting you guys and giving you guys content that you guys are interested in. But I do want to give some shout outs to a couple fans that have left some great comments that I can't go unnoticed. This guy, Patan Cad on Apple Podcast wrote, I am a Bruins fan, but I love the structure of the podcast and getting a player's insight, 5 stars, and looking forward to more. Thank you so much. Mark Mushel on Apple Podcast commented, PK is awesome, always entertaining, and really awesome to hear insights from a player who is in the middle of his career and still playing at a really high level. Thank you so much for that. Keep it up, bud. Bryce McDonald on YouTube commented, PK is paving the way for a long career in broadcasting. You are a natural. PK, thank you so much. I really appreciate the comments. Keep it coming, your reviews. Keep posting them. I'm loving it all. It's really helping us out. So thank you so much for your support. Like I said, we're going to keep coming back week after week. We're watching hockey, maybe even talking other sports as well. We're going to get into basketball maybe a little bit, right, Mo? Right. Maybe. So stay posted, guys. We're going to keep banging these things out for you. And like I said, keep leaving the comments. Reviews are everything for us. Remember, Apple Podcasts, go on, leave your reviews. All good stuff. All good stuff. Coming up, we got Hockey Talk and TikTok. That's right. We have one of the biggest personalities on TikTok coming up. Josh Richards is coming up. And guess what? He's a huge hockey fan. Stay tuned next to see how he did. All right, Mo. So we're back. We're going to talk hockey. But before we get into hockey, just want to take a moment to talk about Dale Hawerchuk passing away. Very, very unfortunate news. 57, way too young. I actually had an opportunity to know Dale decently well. Got to golf with him a few times. When I was coming into the league, took some time. I had a lot more time in my schedule to golf and used to go to all these golf tournaments and used to see Dale there all the time. Just a tremendous man. Very, very, very nice. Like so down to earth. One of the nicest people in the hockey world and gone far too young. I know he was battling cancer, but some tough news. Yeah. Tough news.
Well, let's get into it real quick. Stories obviously around the league, but we'll transition to something else before we jump into the league. You just got back from vacation, right?
Yes, I did.
How was that?
On a brighter note, took some time off.
Yeah.
It's been like, I don't know, man, well over 20 weeks of training. Anybody that follows me on Instagram knows that I've been going pretty hard. So just training, working, and I felt it was time. It was time to take a little bit of a break and get away. I just did my COVID test, came back negative.
Negative.
So was in the mix, but happened to stay out of the mix in terms of COVID. So that's nice.
No, it looked like you had fun. Yachts, beautiful women, Lindsay.
Great time. Great time. S'mores were great. It was awesome. Anybody who hasn't been to Cabo, please go. Great.
Oh, yeah.
And it was perfect too. Wasn't crowded. Obviously, COVID. I know that most hotels and resorts can only be at like 30% capacity. So It was perfect. It was low key. Weather was perfect. Nobu Hotel, shout out to them. I know they're fairly new. I wouldn't tell. Service was through the roof. It was unbelievable. And I'm not a big beach guy. Anybody that knows me knows I'm always working. I'm always going 100 million miles an hour. So for me to go somewhere and really just be able to disconnect, obviously I still like to post on my social and do all that stuff because that's fun for me. That's not really work. But I was able to I didn't look at any emails. I think I watched one hockey game while I was there. So I even took a break from hockey. But it was perfect. So if you go to Cabo, check out Nobu Hotel.
All right, let's get into the news around the league right now. Biggest news to come out of the bubble.
Tuukka
Rask leaving the bubble to head back home to spend time with family. Many Boston fans are obviously upset, as you could imagine, in Boston. But, it seems like he's got complete support from his team. What are your thoughts on this, and how does this affect Boston in this series?
Well, listen, when we started hockey in the playoffs, I said right off the bat that, for me, when I think of the Boston Bruins, it's Patrice Bergeron, Zdeno Chara. That's where, I look at their leadership starting with those two guys. They obviously have a lot of other leaders, Marchand, these guys that have been around for a while, but those two guys, in my opinion, are the most important guys to that team. So whenever things like this happen, I look to them to step up, and we saw that they did, being down 2-0 to Carolina, coming back 4 unanswered goals. I think it was the end of the score was 4-3.
Yeah.
So, that doesn't surprise me. I had picked Carolina to win that series.
So did I. I picked them to win the whole thing.
Who knows what can happen now? Obviously, with Svechnikov getting hurt, and there's some things that have changed. But who knows what's up with Tuukka? I don't know enough about that situation. I mean, you can do some digging, but there's tons of rumors floating around. Who knows what's true, what's not true? But family comes first. If it's a family situation, you got to take care of your family. But it's just interesting because there's other players too who've got newborns and stuff like that. So it just makes you wonder. You just hope everything's okay with he and his family, and you wish him the best. But that's tough. You lose your number one goaltender in the playoffs. It's very difficult. But listen, I know Halak well. If there's a guy that that can step in and do the job, it's him. So
right. Speaking about Andrei Svechnikov, goes down with a knee injury after being dumped.
I don't know if it was a knee injury because they showed him on TV and he had a boot on and his knee wasn't braced at all. I think it's ankle.
Ankle. Yeah.
I think it's ankle injury. So that's, in my opinion, that's good news. In terms of the time frame, you don't know how long it is.
Right.
Whether it's broken bones or ligaments, whatever it is, you hope. I mean, tough luck for that kid, man. He was just like,
how much is that affecting this series? Obviously, Aho has to carry a lot more, but you're losing arguably your second strongest offensive player on that team.
Yeah, but just some tough luck.
Yeah.
For Svechnikov, the kid's a stud, obviously superstar in the league. He's going to be fine. He's young. Look for him to bounce back. If I'm looking at Svechnikov, I'm looking at Kevin Fiala, who broke his femur against St. Louis when he was playing with us. Huge injury. Right. Not a lot of guys come back from that. Kevin Fiala seems to be doing quite well right now. So, I think that, not to compare injuries or anything like that, but he's young. I see him bouncing back. I don't think there's any worry. I don't see Carolina rushing him back either. I think he'll be fine. Tough injury, but their team has shown that, listen, we can still compete. I know that Boston turned it on. Boston's got that experience.
Yeah.
So Carolina's going to learn from that. Their backs are against the walls now. Right. They have to come out. I think obviously next game is the defining game in the series. It's going to tell a lot, but give Carolina credit. They don't quit. They don't quit.
Tough team. The Bruins announcer took some flack after that hit. He tweets out what NBC hasn't shown yet regarding the unfortunate injury to Svechnikov. The Carolina wing was playing hobby horse, riding Chara on the back apron of the goal, is what he tweets out, right? You poke the bear, you take your chances. No one wanted to see Svechnikov hurt, but he bit off more than he could chew. What's an announcer doing talking shit on Twitter?
Well, I mean, first of all, Jack Edwards, I know him very, very well from a professional standpoint, playing in Montreal and playing against the Bruins. Listen, I look at the tweet and first how it started, and he first said that it's an unfortunate injury and, you never want to see anybody get hurt. So he covered himself that way. As far as what went on the ice, I think that's a sports commentary. That's Boston, very Boston-ish.
Very Boston.
Subban, he's down again. It's that whole thing, and it adds to the energy of it. And Zdeno Chara is one of the nicest people I've ever met in hockey.
Right.
He's not going out there trying to hurt anybody. It's a no-nothing play. He's battling in front with a kid. And trust me, Z is a veteran player who understands that Svechnikov's a young player still learning. He's not doing anything crazy out there. And it was a really unfortunate play, but that's what Jack Edwards does.
Right.
He tees it up, and people are going to go nuts about it. And that's what it is. I watched it happen for 6 years. When I played Montreal, Boston, I knew that anything that you did on the ice, when you're a star player on the other team, they're going to expose everything that you do is going to be highlighted by him. And it's the Boston toughness. It's their fan base. That's That's the whole script there.
What's your thoughts when you go up against Chara for the first time and you just realize the size of this human being on
Massive.
skates and how agile he is for his size?
Massive. And, you know, I have such a respect for how long he's been playing the game and how strong he is.
Right.
And he was actually giving me some really good advice about, like, you know, PK, to manage overtraining. Like, don't overtrain. You don't have to. You're strong. Just, you know, do your thing. And he's always been great at that. And that's why I have so much respect for him, is to, you know, is he's always willing to help anybody, not just his own teammates. But Z is a journeyman. He's been around for so long. To do it at his size and see the game evolve and him still be as effective as he is, says more about his impact on the game. That's why he's a Hall of Famer.
Habs coach Claude Julien was hospitalized for chest pains. He gets a stent put in. He's been released from the hospital. He's expected to make a full recovery, which is great. But the Habs have been without him. How does that affect them in this series that seems to be really tight?
Well, first of all, it's unfortunate. You never want to see anybody have that. And I got to meet Claude Julien and get a little bit closer to him at the Olympics in Sochi. And just a quality human being. You don't want to see that happen to anyone. So we wish him the best and a speedy recovery. With this team, Kirk Muller's got the experience behind the bench. I don't think that team's going to miss a beat in terms of their preparation. I think it's going to be amplified now from as far as the details go. I think players are going to be amplified in terms of paying attention to the little things that they have to do and being responsible. And it's accountability too. You know, no player wants to be the player that's stepping away from the game plan while the coach isn't there. So I see them getting better as the series goes on. I don't see them getting sloppy at all. But on the personal side, you want to see the coach, you want to see Claude Julien recover as quickly as possible.
Columbus Blue Jackets and Tampa Bay Lightning play the 4th longest playoff game ever.
Unbelievable.
Ending in a 5th OT period.
Unbelievable.
What kind of physical and emotional stress is a player going through during a marathon game like that?
Can we talk about Korpisalo for a second?
Let's go.
Like, this guy's insane.
He's playing lights out.
Insane. And you know what? Let's talk about Columbus for a second, because we see Tampa. We know what Tampa is built of, and you got to give Tampa credit. I'm going to get to that in a second.
Right.
You know, Stamkos is out of the lineup and they got some guys banged up, but I want to talk about the Blue Jackets for a second. They go through an emotional series with Toronto.
Right.
They go the distance. Obviously it's only 5 games, but I mean, those games were heavy, hard games, fast pace, back and forth action. And it doesn't even look like they're getting tight. It looks a little bit now like they're starting to get a little bit tired.
Yeah.
You could tell last game when Tampa's skill sort of took over.
Right.
And
Tampa woke up a little bit. And,
yeah. So Columbus is going to need some bounces down the stretch here. But I could tell you this, that Korpisalo's, I mean, he's got to be the hottest goaltender in the NHL right now. And the most consistent outside of Carey Price and Carter Hart. I mean, he's the guy that I see. Who am I missing? Am I missing a goaltender? I mean, that Korpisalo is the guy who stood out to me the most. And watching that game, I remember I was in Cabo and I took a break from the pool. I had 1 or 2 pina coladas and I said, I got to lay down because I was like, it's way too hot. So I went up to my room and I'm sitting there and I'm watching it. And Lindsay's like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh no, I'm just checking, I'm on Instagram. And cause I didn't want her to know I was watching hockey. Cause she's like, take a break. Like, right. And she comes over. I'm like, Linz, this is in 5 overtimes right now. So she stood there and watched with me and she's like, who's the goalie? She's like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, it's insane. He's so dialed in, and it just shows people. I want fans to take this in. When you have goaltending like that, it changes everything. When you have a goaltender like that, that's where Columbus now finds that energy, that extra energy that they don't think that they have. When you know that you have a goalie that's going to make not the first save, the second and the third.
Yep.
It's a lot easier to play in front of them.
It just takes a lot of pressure off of the offense.
Yes.
Because you don't need to have 30 shots on goal. You just need to get 1 or 2 in because you know your goalie is going to carry you.
Yeah.
Lindblom returns to the Flyers practice after the first time since being diagnosed with bone cancer back in December. What kind of impact does that have for this Flyers team when you get a guy like that coming into the locker room?
You know, the only other experience that I have, there's two other. I think of, Brian Boyle. I think of Saku Koivu. And I look at this type of player who's a young player. It's a different situation because we haven't really seen a young player come into the league and have to face adversity like this. And I think that it's just been awesome. The way the Philadelphia Flyers have handled that whole situation and supporting the kid and being there for him and allowing, getting him around the team now. He's around the team and he's making steps. But this is what the NHL is about. This is what I love about the NHL is when they do stuff like this, where it's just bigger than the game itself. Right. And, I know over the past couple of days, the whole King Clancy stuff came out about, and, myself and Dumba and Lundqvist were up for the award. And I remember looking at the list of all the players that got nominated for it. And, you ask any one of those players, that have represented their team on what they've seen with kids and sickness and cancer and all of this stuff that's going on. To see a hockey player come into as early as he can in his career and have this adversity to go through and to be around that. I couldn't imagine what it's like for the teammates to see that every day, right? To see a guy, it just puts things in perspective. Yep. And is it ironic that their team has taken off and has been kind of the surprise team, right? They just kind of came together at the right time. Right. Philly's on the up and up.
And you picked them to win this series.
Well, listen, and I picked them to win the series because Carter Hart. I feel like Carey Price is established in his career. I know that Carey wants to win a Stanley Cup and that's his thing, and that's what he wants to get. But for a young kid like Carter Hart to come in, Philly's been struggling to find that goaltender of the future. They finally found him. I'd love to see him have success. And I know Carey Price is looking at the other end and seeing himself in that as well. So to see these two guys, it's tough. I want to see both of them have success. But with this team, I think seeing Philly bounce back at that 1-0 win, the next game is the biggest game of them all.
Real quick, I'll jump on something you just said there. You talk about Price seeing Hart across from him and being like, oh, it's a young Price. Mm-hmm. Who's the young Subban in the league right now that you see and you go, oh, it's a young Subban?
I get asked that question sometimes. And the first thing I say is first of all, I'm never going to be like, oh, that kid reminds me of myself, as far as someone playing, just because I feel like everybody has to be themselves. Yeah. If a player said, hey, PK, I want to play your game, I'm saying, well, I play a game that replicates my body type and what works for me and how I can be successful. And, you have to make that adjustment. Like I look at Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes isn't going to play the same game that I played when I came in. He's a different size. He's a different type of player. He's, I would compare him more to like an Erik Karlsson type of player, right? So, for me, my game, I've always prided myself on playing a two-way game and being a stopper. That's how I earned my job in the NHL, was playing defense. I get called up in the playoffs. We're playing against Washington and Ovechkin, and I'm getting the call to play against him. And then we're playing Crosby, and I'm getting the call to play against him. I didn't earn my spot in the NHL by offense, right? That came later on in my career. So if you look at the first couple of years, it's just different. But if I look at players that, I watch and that I like to watch, that Cale Makar in Colorado, nasty. Absolute filth. He's nasty. And the reason why I say that is because he's got the calmness and the maturity to his game. He realizes the tools that he has around him. And, coming into the league, I didn't have the luxury of playing on a Colorado Avalanche type team. Yeah. But to see a player already fit in so well and understand how to utilize his talents and skills within that team concept, that's how you win championships. That's what you want. And I think that he's out of the young defensemen in the league, with his size, his shot, I think he's only going to get stronger. I think he's only going to get better. I think that he's a guy that I would look at for a lot of young defensemen to watch in the league. Quinn Hughes is right there, obviously, with his skill and the tempo that he plays at, the speed. He's only going to get better. I think those two are going to be fun to watch as their careers go on.
Chuck is out with a concussion after a big hit. How will losing him affect the Flames in what is a really tightly contested series?
Yeah, it's a big loss, but there's a lot of teams out there that have lost key players. So this is the playoffs. You know, I look back at it when I was playing in Nashville and we lost Fiala against St. Louis, who at the time was one of our top scorers. In Anaheim series, we lost Johansson before playing game 6, which was the biggest game of the series. And you remember Anaheim was a stacked team. Kessler, Getzlaf, Perry, like, you know, Richie, all these players that were kind of still in their prime, right? Listen, that's a tough loss, but I think that Calgary has to look past that. It's not, Tkachuk is a big loss. He's a huge factor. Obviously, having him in the lineup is better for their team than not having him, but they got to look past that. The Dallas Stars have woken up.
Yeah.
Okay. They're rolling.
The giant has awoken.
Well, I told you. And I said, listen, I don't think
they're angry.
Listen to me. Joe Pavelski, signing him, picking him up. I don't think people realize how good this guy is below the tops of the circles. Yeah. He's that good. Look at the guys that they have around the net. Playoff hockey. They got defense, Klingberg, Heiskanen. These guys can get the puck to the net. Those two are probably one of the best defensemen at walking the line, getting pucks to the net. Now look who they have in front of the net. You got Jamie Benn, Radulov, Corey Perry, Pavelski, Foxa. You got all these guys that are willing to get dirty, that are some of the best net front guys. Tyler Seguin. All these guys are some of the best net front guys in the league. Dallas starts getting pucks to the net. You think you're going to outnumber those guys, outbody over a long series? They wear you down. So I think Calgary's got their hands full for the rest of the series, especially now seeing Klingberg get the big game and Heiskanen. You saw once those D started to jump in and started to contribute a little bit, started to move around, getting pucks through. Now all of a sudden their offense picks up. And I think that they're finding their game a little bit now. And Dallas finding their game. Listen, Dallas was picked to win the cup just a couple of years ago. So they have the team for it. They just got to get going. And I think they're finding their groove now. They're starting to move. The Tkachuk injury is huge. For Calgary, it's going to be about them playing their best team game. It's not about who they have in the lineup, who they don't. The guys that are on the ice, they got to bring their hard hats and get ready to battle.
Big shout out to the NHL on the COVID testing of it all. Since the start, 5,640 tests have been administered, 0 positive results. Really just setting the bar on how a league should be running business during this crazy time of our lives. So big shout out to the commissioner and his team for doing such a phenomenal job. Let's get into some of these matchups. I know we've kind of touched base on some of it. A lot of the haters at home that were chirping at you for your predictions in these,
including you, Mo,
including me,
you started it,
are quiet because you have done. I wish I put money on some of these picks because you have done a really good job.
Don't you forget. Yeah. Don't you forget, okay? I silence a lot of people when the big games come around.
That's right.
Okay? Don't forget that. Bigger the game. Right.
When the money's on the line.
That's it. Don't forget that. It's playoff time.
Well, let's jump right into it. Your brother's old team, the Golden Knights, against his new team, the Chicago Blackhawks. Yeah. Man, those Knights have looked good.
Yeah, they have. And the series isn't over yet. But, seeing Chicago now win 3 in a row, that's going to be tough to do.
Oh, yeah. From now on, I agree with you. Them pulling off 3 in a row moving forward, do they have that in them?
Listen, I think anything is possible.
Right.
I just think that Vegas has got too much depth in their players. I remember I was watching a few games ago. I think it was game 3 and you could just see, it was either game 2 or 3. I'm not 100% sure, but you could just see that they had that bounce in their step that they had,
right,
a year ago.
It's a swag.
Like that swag, that confidence back now. Like, oh, no, we're still that team.
Right.
We're still that team, and they're showing it again.
Colorado versus the Phoenix Coyotes. God, does Colorado look good?
Well, I told you. I said it's St. Louis, Colorado. Here's the only thing that I'm going to say, Okay. I'd pick St. Louis to win the cup. I'm still going with St. Louis. It wouldn't surprise me if Colorado won the cup either.
That was like your number two team.
I said that.
Possible team.
You can look back and say it. I will say this. Colorado obviously is playing a team that they're, Phoenix is a good team.
Yeah.
Colorado is just a deeper team, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not that they're just deeper. They've been a team that have gone through ups and downs. They've lost. They've come back. They're ready to make that jump. I think that Phoenix is still building that team. That's from my eyes.
Kemper's played great, but it's almost
great.
You can't, once the dam's broken, you can't really stop it. And these guys are just pouring it on.
Dude, you got this guy galloping through the neutral zone like he's he's Kentucky Derby. You got McKinnon. I mean, I'm not trying to foreshadow anything, but I think we all see Colorado moving on.
Yeah.
I think we see that in that series. And I think Phoenix has played very, very well. They have nothing to hold their head down about. They've played very well. It's just tough with a team that's got that much depth, that has that much to prove. They're just rolling right now, and it's tough to stop. But I think it's going to come down to St. Louis or Colorado, one of these two teams. Okay. And you can throw Dallas in the mix. I said that too. But I'm going St. Louis. St. Louis is in one right now with Vancouver.
Oh, yeah. That seems to be like a brawl. I tuned in last night, and it was just hit after hit after hit.
I saw a comment on either my YouTube channel or something, and someone said, okay, PK, keep sleeping on Vancouver. Someone said that. Someone called me out on that, and I said, you know what? Whoever said that's right, because listen to me. I did not see the fight that I'm like Vancouver right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
It seems like
they
have a gritty team.
Listen to me.
They're not backing down. They're not afraid of St. Louis.
They're going after them.
Oh, yeah.
They're going after them, and I love it. But I'm going to tell you this. If St. Louis gets out of that series, who knows what St. Louis looks like after this series?
Yeah.
But my guess is that this is like a refresher for them. That we have to play above the rim. If we're going to repeat, we got to play above the rim. I think Colorado's playing against a team right now that isn't going to challenge them the way that St. Louis is, and it doesn't matter. They can't do anything about it. All they can do is put 7 on the scoreboard and keep on moving. But I just think that St. Louis is battle tested right now. This series is either going to end their season or elevate their season back to where it needs to be for them to win a season.
Well, another team that's going through that right now, who kind of got punched in the mouth right to start it off, is the Dallas Stars.
Yep.
Right? Who have now woken up and are rolling now. Yes.
Yep. They're rolling.
So it'll be interesting to see if they had the same sort of wake-up call that St. Louis had. And now how did they respond? Series tied at 2-2. Now it's just a best of 3, right?
Listen to me. I think the deeper the series goes, the more it plays into Dallas's favor.
Yeah.
That's just my, I look at their experience. You get Joe Pavelski, Corey Perry, these guys getting pucks deep, cycling on you, grinding it, making it tough on you. Good luck.
Another series, the Flyers versus the Canadiens. Montreal, right? Carey Price threw a shutout.
Yeah.
If he could do it again.
Well, we're doing this right now. I think the score, what is it? 1-0 Philly?
It is, 1-0 second period.
Yeah, 1-0 in the second period.
Got it.
Philly coming out with a good start again. Philly knows this is a huge game.
Yeah.
This is the game of the series, because you got to put Montreal, in a place where they have to come back and win 3 in a row.
Right.
And I think if Montreal ties this series up, it's anybody's ball game. I think that if Montreal wins this game, the momentum swings in their favor a little bit. I think they put that pressure on Philly. Philly right now being up 2-1, they're playing loose. They got to come out. They got to, this is where they have to show that they're the better team, in my opinion.
Well, you called it. So, but Montreal is your Bazinga bonus. So you're in a win-win either way, however the series plays out. Tampa Bay Lightning, Columbus Blue Jackets seems to be playing out exactly how you called it.
Well, listen, I don't count Columbus out until they're done. I don't count that team out.
Really?
I don't.
Have you ever come back 3-1 in a series?
I think when I got called up to play in Montreal. I believe they were down 3-1.
Really?
And I got called up. It was in Montreal for game 6. I think they might have been down 3-1. So I wasn't there the whole series. Right. I got called up for game 6 and game 7, but that would have been the closest that I was to it.
What's the mindset going into a 3-1? Is it one game at a time?
Well, this is why I don't count out Columbus, because it doesn't matter if they're down 3-1 or if they're up 3-1. Tortorella, they are playing the same game. Like he's not accepting anything. Like it's not even an option. So I think for this team, and I think Tampa knows it. You know, Tampa knows it as well. So Tampa's going to come ready to try to close it out. But I can tell you this, Columbus wins the next game. They make it 3-2. You know, they get that boost of energy again. They need some bounces, though. They need a couple bounces.
Let's get into this next game. I don't think a lot of people saw this coming. You made the call on it for all those haters, including myself. The Washington Capitals are just they just haven't turned it on versus the Islanders. And I don't want to blame it on the Capitals. The Islanders are taking it to them. They're up 3-0 with an opportunity to just sweep this series. What's going on here?
Well, first of all, Washington Capitals are a great team.
Great team.
Fantastic
Great
team.
leadership.
Great leadership, great team. It's just, I think that the Islanders right now, let's look at the New York Islanders and where they're at right now as a team. They probably arguably had the worst last 2 months of the season out of any other team in the NHL, right? They were embarrassed. The pandemic and that break might have served them better than any other team just to get away from the rink and reset. They couldn't get out of that funk. But you have to look at this. You got to give credit where credit's due. Lou Lamoriello brings in Andy Green, who was a captain in the New Jersey Devil, journeyman, meat and potatoes guy, block shots, one of the best guys in the locker room, leader. Like, you add that to your locker room. Then you go out and get Pajot, who's meat and potatoes guy, all these guys fit perfectly in, but what they bring is leadership and experience. And in my opinion, when you got Barzal and Bolivier and these guys that are like young players that are ready to make that jump, you see Barzal come and score the big goal. They got everyone involved.
Yeah.
And the way they've built that team and the success is team, right? You had Tavares transition out. Everybody was counting this team out. They came together as a team. And then you bring in veteran players with experience that can complement that. I think you're seeing it all come together for that team. You can't point the finger at one thing or the other. And listen, the icing on the cake at the end of the day, it's the players that go out and do the job. But you got to give Barry Trotz credit for putting that team together and allowing them to come together as a team and play the way that they're playing. And ultimately, I said it at the start. If the New York Islanders come out and play like they're capable of playing, like they played at the start of the season, they're a tough team to beat. They skate, they got skill, they got poise, they got experience on the back end. Their defense are mobile, they can move, they got guys that can shoot the puck, they have goaltending, they have forwards that play the right way. Barzal, you have top 3 best puck control guys in the league. It's a puck control game, so you're going to have possession now. They have all the right pieces to do it.
And let's wrap it up with Boston versus Carolina. Boston obviously takes a pivotal game 4 here. What are your thoughts here? Look, Carolina was my team coming into this. They look great. Maybe the Rangers just weren't as great as I thought they were, and they bulldozed a mediocre team, but they seem to be having some trouble right now with Boston. Can they turn this around and make it a series?
Oh, there's no question. The way Carolina plays, the way they play, they're a smart team. They check the right way. They take care of the puck. You got to give credit to Boston, though.
Yeah.
Boston sort of is in the same boat as Dallas. And I picked Carolina because, listen, once again, young team. I like their young players. Justin Williams, Mr. Game 7, going up against Boston, underdog team. But give credit to the Bruins. They had I'm seeing that maybe I forgot, but there's another level to their game that came. And when they turned it on, it was clockwork. It was just like click, 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 shift after shift after shift. They just roll, they roll, they roll. And I think they reminded everybody in the NHL that they're still, the top team, if not the top team in the East.
It must be nice to be a Boston fan at the moment, right? You have the Bruins playing well. You have the Patriots who got Cam Newton. You have the Celtics who come out and win game 1 of these NBA playoffs. And I figure what a great transition. Look, you killed it and it looks like you killed it so far.
Well, hold on.
Picks.
Let's take the Celtics out of the equation because we already know the Raptors are in the East and they ain't beating the Raptors. So let's take the Celtics out. But let's talk Patriots. You can talk Patriots because, they're not going to see my Cowboys until, you know what I mean? So let's talk Patriots for a second.
Well, yeah, let's talk, Patriots obviously got Cam Newton.
Yep.
Cam Newton, great player. NFL really quick, right? Because you're a huge Cowboys fan. Do you think the NFL season is going to happen this year?
I hope so.
Because look, college football right now is on the brink of, we don't know, right? You have the Pac-10 or the Pac-12 who's opted out. You have other leagues that are showing up. The SEC saying we're going to play. How do you keep people safe? How do you keep people, from testing positive? Because we know it's going to happen.
Well, hold on. Let's talk about where the pressure's coming from. Right. First of all, the NFL is looking at the NBA, NHL. There's sports going on. Right. It's happening, right? So it's how do we get our game to where it can happen, where we can? It's clockwork. For the NHL right now, it's just clockwork.
Yeah,
like it's happening.
But
so
you can't put the NFL players in a bubble for 6 months.
Well, listen, this is where it gets sticky, right? It's how does it work? And you also have to look at the amount of players. Like NFL is like almost double the players of what the NHL
double the
teams
players,
have.
Double the personnel on the back end.
Listen, I think they're going to do everything they can to make it work. They're definitely going to try. But I want to see football.
I do.
I want to see Tom.
Yeah.
I want to see Tom and the Buccaneers.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to see
the Patriots and Cam Newton. So many great storylines.
Too many great storylines.
Dak Prescott, is he going to get paid or not? Is he going to ball?
Oh, no. Dak's getting paid.
As a Cowboy?
My boy's getting paid, yeah.
As a Cowboy or as another?
Listen. First of all, whether it's in Dallas or it's somewhere else, he's getting paid. Yeah. But you know me, Jerry's world, and we're all just living in it.
That's right.
And you know how I feel about Jerry Jones.
We got to get Jerry on the show.
I want to see my boy Dak get paid, though. That's, I believe in Dak. I believe that he's one of the top quarterbacks in the league. Whether people like it or not, I don't care whether you like it. Yeah, I said it. He's one of the top quarterbacks in the league. I believe that.
All right, let's jump into another league that is in full force.
Yep.
That has one of your favorite teams as a defending champion.
Okay, but what about Damian Lillard? What about him?
Well, look
Adidas guy, three stripes.
Damian Lillard is great. He seems to have the right supporting staff this year, right? In the sense that they went out and got Melo. Melo's been a good kind of number 3 role player. They got Whiteside off the bench.
Hold on. Let's not just skim over how good Damian Lillard's been. I saw a stat this weekend that said Steph Curry, in like his whole career, has had 61 3-pointers from 30 to 40 feet from the rim.
Right.
Damian Lillard had 54 just this season.
Okay.
54 in one season.
I'm not going to throw shade on a guy doing amazing
things. Is he the MVP?
Yeah.
Would you vote for him as MVP right now?
No.
Would Portland Trail Blazers be in the playoffs without Damian Lillard? So wait, hold on. Compare that. Let's talk about MVP.
If you go of the definition of what an MVP is, yes, you can argue that Dame Lillard has helped a team on the bubble get in as the 8th seed.
Excuse me.
We can make the same argument for Giannis and what he's done for the Bucks that are a 1 seed. So one is just now
okay,
listen,
but you're not putting LeBron. I haven't heard LeBron's name yet. So hold on, I want to hear it. Do the Lakers make the playoffs without LeBron and AD as their number 1? Do they make the playoffs?
I think they make it in as an 8 seed.
Okay, that's my point.
Right.
So Damian Lillard, correct?
Yes.
If he's not on Portland, are they making playoffs?
Probably not. No.
They're not making playoffs.
That's right. Okay,
I'm not saying who's the MVP. I'm not saying who's not.
He's playing lights out. okay? But there's a difference when you play lights out in what we call, weekend ball, average Joe ball, because the playoffs we know are a different beast, right? The Lakers have been coasting through this entire bubble.
I agree.
And the question is going to be, when I see him do it against AD and LeBron, who are zoned in on, we just need to stop this one guy. If he does it against them,
dude, he's pulling up just inside, like 5 feet inside a half court and draining them.
He has everything that I want in an athlete. He has a killer instinct. He's not flashy. He's all about his city. He probably could have gone to a much bigger market and be a much bigger star.
He is not scared.
He is not scared.
He doesn't get scared.
But the question is, what happens when you face arguably the greatest player of my generation in LeBron James?
When Kobe says...
Yes.
That guy does not get scared. He ain't scared of anything and anybody. Listen to me. I haven't watched an NBA. I watched probably 4 games. I've been watching hockey mostly.
Right.
I've watched 4 games. I'm tuning into every single game in that series.
And
we're talking about it.
It starts tonight. Well, look, let's get into it. Let's see if you can put your predictions where your mouth is right now. Lakers versus Portland. Who do you have in that series?
Well, the Lakers should win that series.
Slow retreat.
Okay, the Lakers should win that series. But the 1-2 punch, the two-headed monster in Portland, right? You got Melo, who is obviously looking to make an impact. I think this is going to be the best basketball that we've seen from Melo in a long time.
You got McCollum as well, who's great.
That's what I'm saying. Yep. So the two-headed monster, McCollum and Dame, and then you got Melo, and then you got Jokic.
Yeah, and they got Whiteside, who's coming off the bench, who was a star in Miami and has found a good role for himself on this team.
Listen to me. If Portland plays their best basketball, it's going to come down to Dame and Mac, dude.
So who are you picking right now?
No, listen. I don't think you can pick. I think you have to pick the Lakers.
Got it.
Because if you pick the Lakers and they lose, no one's going to look at you like you're crazy. But you pick Portland. No, you pick Portland and they look. Listen, I'm going with the Lakers. You got to go with the Lakers. I don't think the Lakers playoffs are ending in the first round. I don't see that.
Houston Rockets versus OKC. Obviously, the Rockets are dealing without Westbrook at the moment. OKC with Chris Paul have this resurgence. Is it enough? Who do you have in that series?
I'm taking Houston.
Houston it is. That seems to be the right pick.
I'm taking Houston.
All right. Jazz and the Denver Nuggets. I don't know too much about either team here.
I'm going with Utah.
Okay, Utah. Wow. They come back. They lost the first game, but they're coming back. Clippers. This is an interesting series. Clippers versus the Dallas Mavericks.
Clippers.
Oh, wow.
Because they're clipping. They're going to clip.
How much do you miss Kawhi Leonard at this moment?
I miss him, but I'm happy for him. You know what? You win a championship, you go somewhere, you go to Toronto. I'm not saying that Toronto was a place that he wanted to go to, but he came there. And whether he wanted to be in Toronto, whether he considered being there long-term or not, doesn't matter. He focused. He gave respect to the city, the organization. He got the job done. And you know that he put everything into his preparation and to being the best player he could be in Toronto. He earned the right to go and play wherever he wants to play. And everything's great for him now. You know what I mean? So I'm pulling for Kawhi. I want to see the Clippers in the finals.
I have never seen a player do a one and done like that and get so much love.
Yeah, but it's not only that, it's his personality too. Like the guy it's almost like he doesn't care, but he does care because he leaves it all on the court. And, you can't want to see everybody be that way because not everybody can be that way. That's just who he is. And, listen, you got to give that guy credit. He was not pegged to be the player that he is today. Nobody would have said that Kawhi Leonard is going to be who he is today. And he's worked extremely hard. He's a beast. And listen, another Hall of Fame player we're talking about. So that says it all.
We'll touch on this one quickly. I know the answer. Bucks versus Magic. It's got to be the Bucks.
It's got to be the Bucks,
Easy. Pacers versus Heat. That's kind of interesting. Jimmy Butler reinvents himself. Like he's gotten a bad rap for being a hard-nosed player.
For me.
He's just a guy who
Not
calls out mediocrity. Calls out laziness.
Not for me.
He finally gets to a place in Miami where he's with Spoelstra and he's with the great Pat Riley.
Yeah.
Where it is appreciated that a guy comes in with that sort of fire and they make him a leader, and obviously that team is taken off.
First of all, I have no issue with Jimmy Butler and how he conducts himself within a team. You know, listen, I've been scrutinized for getting in tussles with teammates in practice and all that stuff. I believe you got to push each other. You got to push your teammates to be the best. And, you know, I've been very fortunate enough to be playing in the playoffs more times than not playing in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that's because I've been on teams where guys pushed me and I pushed them. And that's a winning mentality and environment. I'm not saying you got to fight your teammates every season, but what I'm saying is you got to push it. You know, listen, you watch The Last Dance, not everybody's going to be Michael Jordan. We're not asking everybody to be Michael Jordan. But Jimmy Butler's not even close to doing what Michael Jordan was doing and pushing his teammates. So, look, I got a lot of respect for a guy who wants to win.
All right, so it looks like Miami's going to then take that one for this first round. Boston, 76ers, who do you have? Celtics take game one. Looks like Ben Simmons is out for the series. Gordon Hayward's also going to be out. Boston just seems to have a little more depth. Thoughts?
Well, I mean, listen, Tatum.
Right. Oh, I love him.
There's one guy, I'm just going to say his name, Tatum.
He's like he reminds me of a young Kobe. I remember I think it was his rookie year in the playoffs. He dunks on LeBron with no fear. And even LeBron gave him a look like, are you what?
Listen to me. He's a problem.
Yeah.
But I want to see that problem get solved when my Raptors meet him.
All right, so
I'm going Boston.
We'll let Boston move on. Then obviously Raptors Nets. That should be
Raptors will wrap that series up too.
Van Vliet, Siakam.
You see the step back? Do you see the behind the back step back?
Oh yeah,
nasty. It's my boy Vliet.
Ibaka coming off the bench, and he's
Freddie.
A baller. We got to get Ibaka on this show. I feel like he'd be a good interview.
Ibaka.
All right, so we got the Raptors wrapping that one up. Okay, let's go second round in our little bracket here. Lakers versus the Rockets that should have, Westbrook back. Who do you see winning that series? Going on to conference finals.
That's a very, very good one, but I see the Lakers taking
All
that.
right, so we got Lakers in the conference finals. The Jazz versus the Clippers in the conference finals. Who do you have moving on?
I see Clippers moving on.
All right, so Clippers move on to the conference finals to face the Lakers. Let's head over to the East. Finally, the Bucks have to face a real team in the playoffs in the sense that they're playing Miami. Who wins that one? That's going to be a hard-fought game. Jimmy Buckets.
Miami.
Oh, no. I don't think I like that pick. If you would have said that pick that the Miami Heat would make the Eastern Conference Finals 4 months ago, people would have laughed at you, but that is a great pick. All right, let's put them in there. And then obviously Celtics versus
Raptors.
Raptors.
Come on now.
Got it. All right. So
stop playing around, Mo.
Conference finals, Lakers, Clippers, first time they've ever faced each other.
Mm-hmm.
What we call the freeway series, right? What we call LA is pissed off because everyone would have wanted that. That would have been the hottest ticket in LA. You would have been there looking fly as hell with Lindsay sitting on the sideline next to Jack. Living it up.
In the mix completely.
Instead, you got robbed, and now we have to watch it on TV.
Genie Bus, I would have called up Genie. Genie, if you're watching, looking forward. We're looking forward to that for sure.
Now we watch it on TV like everyone else. Who do you have winning this? This is going to be a tough one.
I got Lakers, Raptors in the final. Raptors winning it again.
Wow. Yep. Lakers in the final, which means you have the Raptors beating Miami, and then you put the Raptors in the final again.
Yep. Beating the Lakers in 6.
In 6. Oh, I'm writing this down. Raptors in 6.
6.
Put it on the board.
6. Let's go.
You heard it here first. That wraps up our NBA.
Raptors wrapping it up 6 games. He is the 18-year-old megastar on social media, having amassed over 20 million followers on TikTok. I think I got like 2,000. Now he's making waves as one of the youngest entrepreneurs ever as the chief strategy officer for the social media app Triller. And he's a huge hockey fan and fellow Canadian. We love our Canadians here at the Ugly Duck Podcast on my YouTube channel. Welcome, please, Josh Richards to the podcast. Thanks for being here, Josh. Welcome to the Ugly Duck Podcast, episode 3.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I mean, it's an honor.
Listen, you are from Ontario. We spoke a little bit about where you're from. There's a little bit of a connection here. You grew up with hockey. Who is your favorite team, and what do you like about the game?
Favorite team growing up was Pittsburgh Penguins. Sidney Crosby, you know?
I mean, he goes right to the team that ended my only chance so far to win a Stanley Cup, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Okay, why Pittsburgh?
It was Sidney Crosby. He was an idol to me when I was younger, you know? Made me want to start playing hockey, so.
I think Sidney Crosby's an idol to a lot of kids, especially a lot of 18-year-olds. This guy's only 18, if you can believe it. 20 million followers, hugely successful. Okay, who are you betting on the playoffs now that your Pittsburgh Penguins aren't alive? Penguins down. Who are you betting on?
I mean, I think that Carolina has like a great defense.
I like your pick.
Like,
they're very good. Yeah, go on.
They got a great defensive team, so I think they're going to take the cup this year.
Okay, I like that pick. Carolina is a good team. They're a sleeper. Not a lot of people may see that, but hockey people do. So great pick.
Thank you.
Did you play hockey growing up?
Yeah, I actually always wanted to play hockey, but at the start, my parents kind of like would side that question just because like we didn't have, I guess, the money to play right off the bat. But I started to play when I was 9 years old and then played until 16.
What position did you play?
I was a center.
Centerman, huh?
Yeah.
Like Sidney Crosby.
Exactly.
Two-way? Did you play a 200-foot game?
Yeah, I was
solid.
a two-way player.
Reliable. You're reliable with that 20 million followers you got on TikTok too. Okay, Josh, I have to ask. Did you know going onto TikTok that you could make it? What was your strategy from the start? I mean, 20 million followers. It's a lot of followers.
No, yeah. It started off actually with my sister getting me in a video. Okay. And then her comment section was like, what's his username? What's his at? So I was like, oh, I'll make one. So I made one the summer before my freshman year. And I was competitive, played sports. So I was like, if I get 10K followers by the end of the summer, I'll keep doing it. If not, I'm quitting. And I hit the goal. And then I was just like, I guess I'll keep doing this for fun. And then I saw that you can make some money off of it. So turned it into like a business.
So you're not wasting your time on social media. It's time well spent for you, I think.
Yeah, I would like to say that.
Okay, I like that. People take your generation for granted, in my opinion.
Right.
And I think I'm a little bit a part of that. I'm an 89 boy. I'm 31. So I caught the tip of the millennials. In my sport, I guess I'm seen as a millennial as well. But you're 18, so you're getting the full brunt of this whole thing. You guys are making a killing at such a young age. Do you think people misunderstand young creators like yourself?
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people that are older, they think that they're just like wasting their time on social media or they're being idiots, you know, posting these videos of dancing or whatever. That fly doesn't.
I know. I want to get it.
That fly doesn't get out of my face.
I'm sorry. It's the one thing about the studio that we don't like. The bugs that get in here. I'm sorry.
No, but yeah, they definitely kind of, I think, look at it at a different view. Like they didn't have the social media back then. So what I like to say is like, you know, back then people would watch TV, watch sports, and watch all that type of stuff. Now a lot of people just would prefer to watch social media videos. Mm-hmm. So
and like it seems like it kind of just happened overnight for you. Like how did this all happen for you? I know you talk about your sister, but explain to me what goes into it because a lot of kids are on social media. Not a lot of kids have had the success that you have.
Yeah, no, it's been about 4 years now of me doing it. So I started to look at the algorithm and see on the app which videos would pop off, what made them pop off, kind of learned that like shares and comments would make your video do better. So I started making videos that would engage more with the comment section, found that 5 posts a day would actually push my other videos up on the For You page as well. So I was just trying to figure out all the, you know, the algorithmic features of the app that would help me out. And then I took advantage of it.
So there's a science to it.
A little bit, yeah.
I think you got to give yourself some credit. Like I'm looking at you, you're a cool dude. I'd follow you in all your videos.
Hey, thank you.
Okay. I think people think staying active on social media is easy.
Right.
Is it?
Not at all.
Or is it hard work? Like what does it take?
I mean, I think it depends also what videos you do, but I'm trying to do like my 3 to 5 videos on TikTok, and then I'm trying to post my videos on Triller, and then YouTube, and then Instagram. So it definitely depends on what you're trying to do with social media, but the YouTube is what takes the most time, and it's a lot of work to stay consistent on there.
Yeah, and I think that's important to say is that for a lot of kids, they see social media as being easy, and this is an easy way I can become popular and make money. And it's like anything else. You got to work at it. The best people in their craft, in their profession, work extremely hard.
100%.
How hard do you work?
I'm probably putting in like 8 to like max 10, 12 hours a day.
Wow.
Because it goes into the business meetings I go to, calls I answer, going on media, news outlets, planning videos with my videographer, with my friends, getting them involved, making calls to them, sketching out like, what prank I'm going to do or anything along those lines, and then going live, filming video. Like it's a huge process.
You are an impressive young man. I really mean that. You're only 18 years old though. And you've just been hired by the app Triller as its chief strategy officer. 18 years old. I'm impressed. But what I really want to know is, are you going to turn in the hat for a suit? Are you going to start wearing suits now that you're a businessman, or what?
I don't know. I think I like the hat and t-shirt and jeans.
Yeah.
That's perfect for me. Yeah.
See, I'm used to the suits.
Right.
So, but even now, I don't know, with the new dress code in the NHL, I might be able to rock a t-shirt and jeans and a baseball cap to a game. What do you think?
I think that's the move, but I've seen you in some suits. You got some style to you.
I got some style. The only problem is I got all these hats,
right?
And I don't know if they're going to fit with the fro. So do I keep the fro or does the fro go? That might, next time you come on the podcast.
Yeah, we'll answer that next time.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
All right. What separates Triller from TikTok? I understand Triller stores very limited data and has double encryption and da-da-da-da. Explain to me the difference between the two.
Right, of course. How I like to look at it is like, one, it's creator first, by the artist, for the artist. Like 27 of the top streaming artists are invested in Triller. So they're actually an app that cares a lot about the creator. And that's what made me like have such a refreshing feeling when I talked to them. I went in there, we started talking about monetization components to be added to the app, and they were like receptive right away. They're like, yeah, we're going to work on that, or we've already actually started working on that. So that was amazing. As well, it's kind of like the Hollywood version. I got to go and meet up with Mike Tyson, went to his training. Iron Mike. Yeah, exactly. Like they set up a lot of stuff for their creators, and they care about them. So that's kind of something that's cool.
Impressive. And what I want for kids listening, people listening, is that not only is he successful at what he does, he knows the ins and outs of his business. 18 years old, he's taking the time, learn your craft, learn your profession. I love it. TikTok is at the center of a huge global battle right now. Everybody obviously knows what's going on, especially in the United States. What do you make of it all? Is China really going to get us? Like, they going to take TikTok from us or what?
I mean, here's how I look at it. It's like, it's not about me necessarily or like my following on TikTok. It's the safety of all these like young kids that are using this app. Like, I feel a responsibility to those followers that, support me on the daily. So what I'm trying to do is at least guide them to a different area or a different social media platform that is going to be safe.
That's amazing. I love that because I'm the same way. I may not have 20 million followers on TikTok, but whenever you expand and you change into a different direction, you want your followers to understand that you're thinking of them.
Yeah, 100%.
I love that. You're also on YouTube, like me.
Yep.
Why did you turn to YouTube? What separates it from TikTok? Give me the breakdown, because I'm new to YouTube, so I want to hear from you.
One, show my personality. I feel like you can't show that a lot or demonstrate really who you are on apps like TikTok or Triller. I mean, it's just like a video with an audio over top of it. They don't even hear your voice. So I wanted to kind of show people who I was and how I acted. And also, I mean, I get to be more creative. I get to do the different types of videos I want, the vlogs I want to do. So definitely just a more authentic, I think, platform.
Authentic, real. I like it. He's only 18, this guy. Unbelievable. You took a hiatus this year from your collab house, Sway LA. What happened?
Sad.
What happened?
So yeah, we got into a little bit of trouble. You know, we were a bunch of like young adults, and we're messing around doing a lot of things that maybe we shouldn't be doing.
At 18, shocker.
Yeah,
Go
exactly. 18-year-olds doing those type of things. But I think it was just like a reality check for me, and also one of my roommates, Jaden Hostler. We kind of realized we were going down a path we didn't want to go down. And we decided like, okay, let's take a step back for a little bit and kind of reevaluate our decisions.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of decisions, there was a lot of talk about the parties during the pandemic at the Bel Air house where you lived with your collaborators.
Yes.
What do you make of all of it now that you have some distance?
I mean, like they're party animals. That's just they're frat. It's a frat house. Like it's not even a collab house. It's really just a bunch of kids that are college kids doing the craziest things they can dream of. So that's just what they do. It's just who they are.
Hey, you know what? At the end of the day, when people are young, they want to have fun. They want to have fun, right?
Yeah, and they're gonna find a way to do it. So
that's it. But you got to keep your in line, right?
No, of course.
I love it. I love it. You're like a breath of fresh air, man. Love you. The mayor of LA, Eric Garcetti, said he'd shut off the water and the power if the parties in LA, La La Land, continue. You think he's right for doing this, or we got to fight for our right to party?
Fight for the right to party. That's funny. I mean, I definitely understand why he's doing it. Like, I think that the US, the COVID, they didn't like control it really well at the start. And then like you look at places like Canada where there's like barely any cases anymore.
Our home.
Exactly.
So
shout out the Six. But yeah, I mean, I understand it. I get it. It's definitely a good warning to put out there, just so people, slow down on that part, stop spreading the virus.
No, I hear you. And but let's be honest, it's difficult to do. This has been a long time.
So long.
It's hard, man.
Yeah, people are getting rowdy. Like they're ready to get out.
And I get everything that's going on. There's a lot of people that are going through stuff, a lot of families, a lot of people are hurting. You only have one life and it's difficult. Everybody's trying to find some way to find that happiness and that enjoyment. Yeah. So I get that. Okay. You got some time for some rapid fire questions?
Shoot.
All right, let's do it. Actually, you know what? Before we get into the rapid fire questions, I want to talk about where you're from.
Okay.
Cobourg, Ontario.
Jeez.
And we talked about it before the show.
Yep.
We have a little bit of a connection with Cobourg. So I played in a town in junior called Belleville, Ontario, which is how far from Cobourg?
It's like, what, 2 hours?
Yeah, it's not that far. It's not that far. Like I always remember Cobourg being like maybe 45 minutes to an hour away from Toronto. Like when I left my house, I'd always pass Cobourg. So I told them the only time that I'd been in Cobourg was when I was trying to make the team out of junior. Yeah. I was a low round pick to the OHL. I went 105th overall in the OHL draft. Okay. That was a 6th round pick. I was a 3rd pick in the 6th round. And I went to rookie camp and I had a really good rookie camp. And I got sent to Cobourg to have one skate. I went on the ice. I had a really good first shift. I think like one of my shifts of the game, I went through the whole team and scored. And basically, I never went back to Cobourg. So that's my story about Cobourg. But Cobourg's beautiful. I love it there. Do you ever get a chance to go back?
I haven't actually for the last 8 months, just because of the whole COVID situation. But I do miss it. I mean, there's a beach there. It's super nice. I used to go there every single day. So,
well, as a Canadian, we'd love to have you back in the country. I'm sure they'd love to have both of us back there.
Yeah,
so
probably.
Maybe we'll have to organize something.
Yeah.
Okay, rapid fire question time. Biggest misconception about you, if there are any?
Biggest misconception. I think that like my age makes me not as smart as I am. I think a lot of people will be like, oh, he's only 18. He's 18, so he can't be an entrepreneurial person. Like he can't do that. He can't focus. He's only 18 years old. But I definitely am. I'm doing it. So
do you know what makes you smart though? Is realizing that you're only 18 and that you're gonna make mistakes. That's, in my opinion, that's what I take from exactly what you just said, is understanding your age and that you don't have to be too hard on yourself.
Right, 100%.
Because you're doing well.
Thank you.
Keep it up.
Thanks.
Keep it up.
Will do.
Best advice you've ever received?
Best advice, with power comes responsibility.
Great power comes great responsibility.
Yep. Yeah, my dad used to quote that all the time. I actually got it tattooed on my arm right here just because, I thought it would be a good reminder. But, yeah.
For sure. You're 18. So, and you're a good looking kid.
Thank you.
There's going to be a lot of things coming your way. Manage it. Okay. Best social media platform?
Triller.
Triller?
Yeah, got to give a shout out to Triller.
Well, yeah, you're heavily invested in it. When are you going to give me a lesson on Triller? I got to get on Triller, no?
And 100% you got to get on.
Okay, we're going to talk about that. Greatest hockey player ever. We're not talking about the greatest looking, so you don't have to say me.
Okay.
Greatest hockey player ever.
Dang. All right, now I got to think. Jeez. I would go with Gretzky.
Gretzky?
Yeah, it's kind of just like someone I always looked at as the best when I grew up. Huge inspiration when I played hockey. Like I was a small kid when I was younger. I didn't really hit my growth spurt till like this summer. So I was a tiny kid, like small.
Love that.
Yeah.
You know what? You could actually pass for Wayne's son. You kind of have a little bit of resemblance with the hair. I like it. What keeps you up at night?
What keeps me up at night?
What a question. At 18, what's keeping you up at night?
Jeez. Maybe exactly what you're thinking. But also, I think it's just like the stress from doing all this social media stuff. Yeah. Like, and like expanding on that because I left my family back in Coburg when I was only 17. Like I came out here when I was 17 years old. Yeah. So I feel like I have a lot of people to prove wrong back in my town and also, be able to prove my family right and believing in me.
Good for you. Good for you. Where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
10 years? Definitely respected as an entrepreneur. Big portfolio in that, as well as I really love making content. Like YouTube is like one of my favorite platforms to post on. Like we talked about, like I really get to show who I am. So I think it's kind of also cool because I get to document my life. So like when I'm, I have kids, which I probably will, maybe 12 years. But I'll be able to show them my life. I'll be able to show them my mistakes. I'll be able to show them like how we used to act when I was younger and everything like that. Hopefully they don't take any ideas away from that, but we'll see.
I love that. Lastly, last question. You got a lot of NHL fans watching. What do you want to say to all the NHL fans watching?
I would say, one, Carolina's going to win the cup. I believe it. I have a feeling. And secondly, play hockey. That was my favorite thing in the world. I miss it more than anything. So if you're like, coming up at that time where it's like, you're not going to play hockey anymore, just enjoy it. Like have the most fun you can playing it.
I love that. Listen, Josh, this has definitely been, if not the best interview that we've had so far on the Ugly Duck podcast. Really enjoy it. You're a breath of fresh air. If there's anything you ever need, you probably don't have to call me, but if you need to call me anytime. I'll be here. Thank you to my guest, Josh Richards, for coming on the show today. Really appreciate you. And be sure also to check out his YouTube channel. We put him in net, strap some goalie pads on him. Check out his YouTube channel. Check out the episode and see how many shots he was able to stop. I exposed them, so that'll be fun for you guys to watch. And make sure that you guys tune in next week for another episode of the Ugly Duck podcast. Also, make sure to like, subscribe, leave your comments below. Let me know if you're enjoying the show. 5-star reviews. Remember, they help us. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can listen to the Ugly Duck podcast. Apple, Spotify, anywhere, YouTube channel. This is the Subanator. Subanator's out.